my gosh. I've not even got a face cam up. Hold on, there we go. Hello. What a absolute disaster. Oh, right, we're fine. We're fine. I've got everything sorted. That was a huge rush, so I do apologise, and I hope you can actually hear me right now. I think the stream music might be a bit too quiet. Let me know. Just need to sort a few things out before we do get started. So just bear with the now. And then we'll be good to go. How is everyone? How are we all today? I do apologise. I basically spent most of however long, like the past hour or so, trying to sort out the spreadsheet, and it took me a lot longer than I did expect. So that's why we're rushing here, because you know I don't even have a graphic below me. I don't have anything sorted, but that's kind of what we do plan for today anyway, isn't it? I suppose we start from scratch and see how things are. Now, I don't actually know if you can see this, but this is what I've managed to do to my chair. Can you see that? Maybe. It's absolutely wrecked, and I need to buy a new one, and I also can't lie back on it, otherwise I start falling. So I'm trying to maintain a good posture today. But yeah, Ricky Rich, hello. Jerome, hey. Theo, hello. Lunatic, let's have a good season. So yeah, wasn't the best. I think it might have actually been my worst season on UCL Fantasy last year, which is unfortunate. You know, one in the top 10%. I can't remember what my exact finish was, to be honest. I think I was maybe just outside. Was I just outside? I think I was just outside the top 1,000. Maybe 1,800. I can't actually remember, to be honest. Vicroz, hello. FPL Sum, hi mate. Davor, hello. So yeah, I don't know if I don't know, maybe you came here last year or the year before that for our UCL streams, but basically the planning streams, what we do is we basically just go through the game, look at some prices, look at the fixtures, and we also, it's mainly a spreadsheet stream where we're going to look at, you know, take a look at all the different fixtures and go through some potential players that we might have found so far, going through all the different price points, and take a look at a potential chip strategy with the fixtures that we do have on offer. So this is my first time jumping into the game. So yeah, I haven't looked at anything just yet, and this is the first team, so I'm gonna have to, like I said, bear with me for a lot of stuff today because it was very last minute trying to sort this out. So I'm just gonna move this back over so you can get a good look at what's going on. How about that? And I also, should I put something down here? I suppose, I guess, like, what have I got? Maybe just a wee logo? Maybe not like that. What's this one? Or this one? Nah. Actually, you know what? I'll just stick the new one in, and we'll stick it here. There we go. That looks horrendous. I do apologise. Do you know what? I might just take that off. But yeah, let's get into it. Actually, no. Do you know what I'll do? I'll move this over a little bit again. like that. Let's do that. That works. Okay. Joe, hello. I think Salah's not that good for his price. Let's have a look. Yeah, fair. One of the most expensive players in the game this year. Is it always 105 million? I thought I'm trying to work out why I've got 105 million in the bank. Is it not 105 million after the group stage? Has something changed with that this year? I don't know. Looking very much forward to this. Heard rumours of a 4.5 goalkeeper from Barcelona, a 4 million Anton who's starting as an offensive defender, and I'm sure you'll guide us to it. Well, Raymond, that is the plan, hopefully. Opinion on the Isak signing? I think he'll be great. I think he'll be fantastic for Liverpool. Solakis equals gem. I'll take a couple of the gems later when we go into the spreadsheet. But I'll definitely keep them in mind. Low-key, keep forgetting we need to ignore recoveries for defenders in FPL and only look at recoveries for UCL. I know. Finished 1% last season, but we can't see the past ranks in UCL fantasy. I know. I don't understand why they never done that. I feel like for me, I'm just looking at my I kind of took a screenshot of my team after the final, for every season. So I kind of have got what's the word? A record of where I finished. But I get that, you know, for a few people, like if you didn't do that last season, you now can't see what you finished last year. First live video, mate. It does feel like it. It's not been a good start. We'll say that. Albi, hello. It says 100 million for me. So can anyone check this as well? Like, if I just get 105 million in the bank for some reason, why does everyone else? Because I'm sure I'm only supposed to have 100 million. So always 100 million in the bank and then 105 from the knockout stage. Vinicius Jr. 9.5 million midfielder. Is that real? Oh, no way. That's a very. How much is Mbappe? 10.5 forwards. Do you know, I'll be very interested in Vinicius Jr. I have 100 million. Ishmael, hello. If I just get an extra 5 million off the start then? Also, I need to try centre myself. And I need to make sure I'm in the middle. Close this over so that you can see a bit better. So I kind of want to make I'll just autofill a team right now. I need a team name. Just call it this for now. And then we will maybe change it later. I see you're over budget. Double check your picks. Well, I'm not. Oh, I thought I was getting an extra 5 million there. That's annoying. Why is that a thing? Does anyone else has that problem, or is it literally just me that's been stuck with 105 million at the start? Clear corruption with the extra 5 mil. 100 million, 100 million. Yeah, it does look as though it's going to be 100 million. John, hello. Could have been free number 1 in the world. I know, can you imagine? Right, let me just sort this. That'll work. There we go. Sorted. Can I see my season recap? I don't really want to see this one because I think it was horrendous. Finished in the top 10%. highest match day was 110, 39 transfers, 54 subs, finished. Oh wow, that's so depressing to look at because we're not in the Champions League this year. And have a good season. Nice. So I was going to read through the rules, but I'm assuming that there is no change. I feel like there would be more stuff going on with that if there was a change to anything this year, or someone would have mentioned it already. Man United have good fixtures. Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's the exact same rules as this as last year. Good to know. Also, same as last year, Matchday 1 has 3 game days, so we've got Thursday games, which is nice. Thursday games for a change. I think that is just Matchday 1, isn't it? Which means 3 captains. Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah, just for Matchday 1. Alright, well in that case, I might as well jump over to this then. There we go. So what we're using today is FPL Manual. We're using his fixture ticker, and I've adjusted it a little bit to, you know, the setup that I prefer to do things in. I did want to have I didn't have time, unfortunately, to put all the names into here, so we are gonna have to deal with abbreviations. There is a couple of weird ones in there. I think we're SGE is Frankfurt for some reason. I want to see if I can find SGE and just change that, because I feel like the rest of them are fairly easy to know who it is, except for Frankfurt for some reason. SGE. Why can I never find this? SGE. Do you know what? I think I'll be better doing this. Nice. So, from what I'm seeing, based on the way Manual has done this, it's based on how good each team is, rather than how hard the fixture is. So, for example, if we look at Kairat's fixtures, they don't have a single green fixture on there, obviously meaning that whenever Kairat plays against whichever opponent they're up against, you know, it kind of takes into, you know, like Paphos at home is going to be a green fixture for most teams, but it's not going to be a green fixture for Kairat, which I quite like. We've also got the key here as well, which he has set up very nicely. And what I've done is I have added this onto the side, which pretty much, you know, organises everything into best fixtures. So what I did was look through, so like a dark green fixture I counted as 5, a light green fixture 4, a grey fixture 3, a light red fixture 2, and a dark red fixture 1. Counted all that up and organised it into here. So what we can see now is being able to sort these into easier fixtures, basically. I don't know why I've done it the opposite way though. 2 seconds. There we go. So this is basically our fixture ticker that is available. Let me have a quick look at the chat. So you're going to be looking for fixture swings to decide the wild card. Yeah, so pretty much like last year what we did was we noticed like Barcelona, for example, and Borussia Dortmund were the two teams that had really good fixtures for the opening match days, and then they both played each other, I think, in match day 4. So we decided that the wild card was probably going to be best used in match day 4. Hold on, I've got a huge ad on my screen. There we go. So yeah, we're kind of just going to look at that, and then teams, like whenever like a lot of the big teams have a difficult fixture, which straight away I'm looking at match day 5. A lot of big teams are playing against each other. You know, that could either be a limitless for some smaller teams or a wild card, something along those lines. But yeah, we'll have a look and we'll see. If anyone has any idea right now, feel free to chuck it in, and we can obviously have a look. Eunice, what's your chip strategy? Wild card in match day 2. We'll have a look. It does actually look quite decent now that I'm looking at it straight away. Again, you are going to want a lot of these big teams who have difficult fixtures in match day 1 and then good fixtures in match day 2. So match day 2 could be one that we do look at for a potential wild card. But that is basically what the whole point in the stream is, to try and decide that kind of stuff. PSG rated bottom of the fixture ticker by a couple of people who rate the fixtures. I did see that. Obviously, with PSG being debatably the best team in the competition, they do have, like, you know, they're ranked pretty highly on this one. But yeah, I did see that they got statistically the worst draw in the tournament. So yeah, so what I've got is we can look at the fixture swings as well, which I am going to quickly take a look at them now. If I do that, just copy this in, and then we'll get rid of all the red fixtures and we'll get started. Do we want to keep orange fixtures? I feel like orange fixtures aren't too bad. Or do we just go for greens? I think we'll get rid of, I say orange fixtures, it's grey on this. I think we'll do that and we'll just look at the greens. So is anyone actually, like, obviously, like, is anyone watching the stream and hasn't actually looked into UCL Fantasy at all yet? Because I've not touched the game once. This would be my first time actually looking at it before we take a look at prices and stuff. I feel like it's good to kind of, like, before you even see anything about prices and stuff like that, it's good to kind of take a raw look at the fixtures. You know, because it doesn't, there's no bias to, you know, cheap gems that you've already found, if that makes sense. Newcastle away, not that easy for Barca. Is that down as a good one? Yeah, it's down as a green one. That's an interesting one, but yeah, I would agree. That would probably be a difficult one. Do you know what? I don't know why I'm doing this. I can literally just do this. Why have I spent this whole time? Is the music okay, by the way? I know there's probably gonna be a lot of times where I'm not saying anything I will try to be as entertaining as possible, but obviously there's a lot of data and stuff on the screen, so it's a lot of like reading. So as long as the music's in the background and it's not just pure silence or really, really quiet. There we go. And then we can just colour them. I do plan on being live for about maybe an hour, hour and a half, depending on how long this goes. But I don't really feel like there's going to be too much to go over. Obviously, it's early days. We've got 2 weeks until match day 1 does kick off. So we'll do more. Obviously, we'll have a cheap gems video out and stuff closer to the time when it is more obvious who those kind of players are. Obviously, right now it is just a first look, basically. So like it's not going to be too long of a stream, but just enough to kind of give us a decent idea, kind of get to grips with the game and kind of know where to start off with certain things. Wildcard 2 Limitless 5 for Ishmael. Wissa locked in. I'll need to have a look at Wissa's price as well. Is he in the game yet? I hope he's in the game. Well, good teams almost have green fixtures in this ticker. So wildcard 5 would mean selling before their continued run of greens. Maybe using wildcard 2 almost as a free hit in game week 1. Yeah, I think I kind of did see that somewhere. I haven't taken a look at the game yet. I know I think it is a bit early at the end. Like, it's still 2 weeks. I feel like next week is kind of when most people are going to be kind of making their teams. I think it's going to be quite popular as well this year. I think after like the Club World Cup, UCL Fantasy was starting to gain popularity as well. Plus, a lot of people liked the format, which was pretty similar to UCL Fantasy. I think we'll get a lot of new players. Plus, I've seen they've got a whole new advert out for it as well with Mika Richards, which is interesting. But I think it'll be quite good. I think it'll be a lot of people this year. Had a wee look this morning, but didn't spend too much time on it. Putting my squad together tonight. Yeah. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. A lot of easy Newcastle fixtures. That is a lot of easy Newcastle fixtures. Sporting, PSV, Frankfurt, Karabag, Benfica, Copenhagen. So if we are going to do a wildcard 2, which we will 100% have a look at, Newcastle look fantastic. I know a lot of people obviously like to keep their limitless for match day 8. At least that's what we've seen last year. That would be fantastic, loading up on Newcastle players. Who else is looking pretty decent? Juventus looking pretty good. They've got Bodo Glimt and Paphos back to back. Would have been nice if Juventus had kept Kolo Muani, because Juventus were a really good team to kind of go for in World Cup Fantasy, or Club World Cup Fantasy. Cambiasso was good. Yildiz was class. Kolo Muani as well. I feel like there was a couple more as well in there. Where else are we looking? So Arsenal have good in match day 1, but they've also got a good fixture in match day 2. I would probably say this fixture is a lot more difficult than it is made out. And then they have a difficult fixture in match day 2, Barcelona. Bayern Munich difficult in match day 1, then you would 100% want to triple up for Paphos in match day 3. So who have Bayern got in match day 1? Bayern are playing Chelsea at home in matchday 1, which isn't an awful fixture. So I think if you weren't going to use a wild card in 2, you could have maybe 1 or 2 Bayern players. Benfica will be nice to triple up on and then wild card them out in matchday 2, if that's the plan. Dortmund and avoid for probably the first 4 weeks. Chelsea again playing against Bayern in matchday 1, then wild carding them in for Benfica, Ajax and Karabag. Inter good just to have for a while. They've got Union, SG and Kairat in matchday 3 and 4. Slavia Prague at home as well in matchday 2. I feel like Inter's definitely a nice one for a triple up. But again, Juventus, Liverpool, Man City, all teams you want to avoid in matchday 1. Juventus playing against Dortmund, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, Man City have Napoli at home, and then have nice fixtures in 2. I feel like City though you could potentially look at avoiding. They've got, I mean, Villarreal's not too bad, and Dortmund at home's not too bad either. But their good fixtures really come towards the end with Galatasaray and Bodo Glimt. Liverpool have Karabag at home in matchday 8. Another one for a potential limitless. I think the limitless 8 really did favour a lot of people last year. The only problem is if you are going to be wildcarding in matchday 2, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 to try and deal with no chips, which could be quite hard. But at the same time, there is still a few teams that, you know, have decent runs of at least 3 or 4 good fixtures in that time. I think Elanga's locked in my team. I'll need to have a look at Elanga's price. No PSG is a viable strategy. PSG did just get shafted. Like, they don't have... Did they not get any green fixtures? No, they did. Why have I got a whole... I don't know what happened to my PSG IO. Hold on. Let me put PSG back in there. Oh no. Wait. I've got PSV. Oh no. Who have PSV got? Benfica. Villarreal with Paphos. Where have I missed a team? Sporting. Napoli's down here. Hold on. Two seconds. Let me try and fix this. This shouldn't be too bad. Oh. Don't know how Napoli's managed to jump down there. Napoli was after shit. Shite. Napoli. So it's not Newcastle with the good fixtures, right? Okay, so we've got a small mistake. I think I need to get rid of this one. And then I've got 36 teams here. Am I missing a team still? No, I've got 36 teams. Okay, so Monaco with Paphos in matchday 5. Monaco with Paphos in matchday 5. Yeah, so I just need to do this. And then quickly sort this out again. I do apologise. So yeah, Newcastle still looks pretty decent, but not as good as we originally thought. There we go. So they've still got a pretty decent run, Newcastle, from if you were still to wildcard in matchday 2. There we go. That's more like it. Picking anyone except probably Haaland and Rodri is probably messing unnecessarily with Pep Roulette. I mean, is Rodri even safe with that now? Probably now that he's back. But yeah, I guess we could give that a couple weeks. Real Madrid fixture have Olympiacos, but that wasn't in the original. Yeah, I think, yeah, Real Madrid should have Olympiacos in matchday 5. Should be fine. I think we're sorted now. This should be it. Mistakes have been solved. So yeah, so it's Napoli that's got a really good run then, which is really good considering, you know, how well they have been doing. Scott McTominay, Kevin De Bruyne potentially. Is Di Lorenzo still doing well for Napoli? Does he still play for Napoli? He was obviously fantastic a couple of years ago in UCL Fantasy. Who's playing up front for them now? Højlund's just signed. Is Lukaku up front for Napoli? But yeah, a couple of decent options for Napoli potentially. So yeah, what we are going to do is basically look on this spreadsheet and put all the big teams with good opponents, and then see who's got the most, see who's got the least, that kind of thing. So Arsenal, we're going to want to have a look at. It's in that Arsenal. Yeah, so Arsenal are looking good in matchday 1 and in matchday 2. So we can take that fixture, pop it in here, and that fixture, pop it in here. We'll just look at matchday 1 and 2 now. Barcelona, I mean, we will put them in for Newcastle away, but I really don't think I agree with that being a green fixture. Leverkusen against Copenhagen. Are Leverkusen still doing well? Obviously lost a big chunk of their players this summer. They have PSV in matchday 2 as well. Bayern have a good fixture in matchday 2 against Paphos. I think Benfica definitely comes into this because it is a fixture against Karabag. Chelsea against Benfica. Did they play each other in the Club World Cup? I think they did, didn't they? It's quite close. Extra time. Copenhagen, Inter Milan have 2 nice fixtures. And matchday 1 and 2. Juventus with Villarreal away. Matchday 2. Liverpool, City, both with good fixtures in matchday 2. Napoli and Newcastle both with good fixtures in matchday 2. Gonna run out of space. PSG, they have Atalanta in matchday 1, which at the end of the day is still PSG though. Real Madrid have Kairat in matchday 2. But they also have Marseille in matchday 1. Sporting with Kairat in matchday 1. See, this is the thing. So Sporting don't have a good fixture. So Sporting's going to be the team that you want to get players from in matchday 1. Then they play Napoli away in matchday 2. So the more and more that I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking that wildcard 2 is definitely going to be a really good strategy. And they've got Bodo Glimt in matchday 2 as well. So that's matchday 1 and 2. So we can look at teams that are both here. We've got Arsenal. We have Leverkusen. We have Inter. We have Real Madrid. And we have Spurs. So in terms of green fixtures, if you weren't going to be on a wildcard 2 strategy, these are going to be the teams that you would want to pick players up from. But what you could do, you know, if you want to try have the best possible team for each match day, you could potentially be looking at no Benfica. They play against Karabag in matchday 1. They then play a difficult fixture against Chelsea in matchday 2. PSG, Atalanta at home. You probably would want players from PSG for that fixture. They then play against Barcelona away in matchday 2. And Sporting obviously playing against Kairat in matchday 1, and then playing against Napoli away. So if you want really the two, like obviously if you're wanting to look at like a free hit team, you want the best possible team for matchday 1. You're going to want Benfica players and you're going to want Sporting players, both who have very difficult fixtures in matchday 2. Is it possible to limitless in matchday 2 and get them back? For matchday 3, would you want that? Sporting play Marseille in matchday 3. Benfica play Newcastle away, so it's maybe not the best strategy. So that is a potential to use maybe a wild card in matchday 2. Sparta, hello. Leverkusen away was a green fixture for PSG, only with Ten Hag there. I forgot Ten Hag was there. I forgot he just got sacked. Remove Paphos, we ain't going to pick anything from that team. That's a fair point. Right, let's take a look at matchday 3 and 4. So we will want Atalanta. Well, we'll look at matchday 3 specifically. Bilbao against Karabag. Barca against Olympiacos. Bayern against Bruges. I guess you probably would want that. Bruges have lost a lot of the players. Dortmund against Copenhagen is going to be a nice one. Chelsea against Ajax. How are Ajax doing these days? I was surprised to see them in the Champions League. I thought Ajax had kind of fallen off a cliff recently. Did they not bottle the league and stuff last year? Or was that maybe the year before? Inter Milan, again, another team we definitely are going to want to look at. So Inter just have a really nice run for the first 3. So if you plan on keeping that wild card late, I feel like Inter's definitely a team that you want to go for with a really good start. Dumfries, Lautaro, stuff like that. This is awful, by the way, sitting here, I'm not being able to lean back, otherwise I just collapse. Napoli against PSV and Newcastle. We're going to run out of space. Again, Napoli and Newcastle, 2 teams that pop up in matchday 2 and matchday 3. I'm not going to lie, the wild card in matchday 2 is looking fantastic. PSG against Leverkusen. Am I going to have to add more space? I think I will. No, I'm going to have to merge them all. Newcastle, then we've got PSG against Leverkusen. And I'll leave Sporting alone and I'll chuck Spurs in. So that's how it's looking for that. Now again, if you weren't looking to use your wildcard or any chips early, Spurs pop up 3 times. Real Madrid pop up twice, PSG twice, Inter pop up all 3 times. Benfica do not, Leverkusen do not, Barca don't, neither do Arsenal. So Inter and Spurs are going to be your solid 3 to pick, or your solid 2 to pick if you want triple ups, and not have to worry about using chips. Just going to stick a little poll for yous. Will I share this spreadsheet? The thing is, like, I would, but I don't update it for myself. So, like, it could be like match day 5. And, you know, all the fixture, like the fixture ticker will stay the same. It doesn't update every single match day. So I could try and share it if enough people want it to be shared. But yeah, it's not going to update every single match day. This is just kind of what I like to make at the start of the game and then go from there. Just kind of helps me with planning. Inter's first 4 games are easy. Good to know. Plus, again, would you even pick, if you were going to match day 2 wildcard, would you pick Inter against Ajax? Potentially not. A lot of the other ones are home fixtures. So you maybe only have 1 or 2 of these, then wildcard and get, you know, the triple up. May have to set up a Bobby Needs a New Chair GoFundMe. Listen, it's absolutely horrendous. Like, as soon as I go to, like, if I want to lean, like, I need to lean on this side, because if I go and lean on this side, I'm gone. So, like, even like one small accident of just pretending that there's a chair here, and it's all over. Right, let's head into match day 4, shall we? Arsenal again making their way in here. So for an Arsenal triple up, you're going to be looking at match day 3 to try and not have those guys. Atletico, Barcelona have Bruges. Chelsea with Karabag. So again, Chelsea a really nice one to pop in for a match day 2 wild card. Inter with Kyrat, fantastic fixture. Sporting for Juventus. Also, I don't know if Sporting's still struggling, or have they been struggling with no Gyökeres in the team? Or are they looking okay? Is that Napoli and Newcastle in there again? That is Napoli and Newcastle in there again. And then we get Spurs. with Copenhagen. So that's another, again, Inter and Spurs are the two teams to go for if you aren't using a chip early. Ah, that's annoying. Why has that happened then? Ah. Do you know what? OCD is really kicking in with that one. There we go. So yes, Spurs make it in there again, and so do Inter Milan. So that's 4 teams, 2 teams that make it in 4 game weeks. And then in terms of teams that make it in 3 game weeks, you're looking at Arsenal. You're looking at Barca. Are Leverkusen in there 3 times? They're not. Benfica. They're not. PSG. Nope. Real. Nope. Sporting. I think Sporting do, I just didn't add them into this one. So yeah, Arsenal, Barca, Inter, Spurs. It's not looking awful. I think you put Sporting twice for matchday 4, did I? Did I? Oh, wait. Who's Sporting playing in matchday 4? What? Who was this supposed to be? Between Inter and Napoli? Inter. Oh, that's matchday 5. Oh, it's Juventus playing it. Sorry. Thank you. Who said that? Matt. Thank you, Matt. There we go. Juventus are in it twice anyway, so that's fine. Cool. Matchday 5. Bilbao, we're looking at. Do Bilbao have a lot of decent players? Because their fixtures aren't looking awful. I'll add them in. Too much money on here. Benfica against Ajax. Matchday 5 isn't looking too strong. I think this is the match day that a lot of teams have. A lot of the bigger teams have difficult fixtures. So a potential strategy could be a wildcard 2, limitless 5. Is that on the cards? Although Copenhagen are the team playing against Kyrat, I don't know if I'd want to be using a limitless chip for triple Copenhagen. Galatasaray against Union SG. There's not going to be a lot of sorry, I can't remember how to spell Galatasaray. There's not going to be a lot of big players available, is there? For that match day. Liverpool. Oh jeez. Okay, maybe I lied. Liverpool, PSV, Liverpool, City. I'll add in them. I don't want to add in every team because obviously, like for the likes of Monaco, you're not really going to pick a lot of Monaco players, even if they do have a green fixture. You know, unless it's like Kyrat or something like that. Like Marseille, I'm not going to put them in. Monaco have Paphos at the end of the day, though. I might as well put that one in. Because if you are going to be limitless and in 5, then you probably are going to consider Monaco players. And did I just get rid of it? Napoli with Karabakh. Is that right? Monaco do have Paphos, right? Yeah. Olympiacos for Real Madrid. And then we've got Bruges for Sporting. May as well add it. I've got space. So this is where, as well, Spurs and Inter don't have good fixtures. Arsenal also aren't here, and neither are Barcelona. So I think if you aren't going to be using chips, you know, early on, you are definitely going to want to use a chip in Matchday 5, whether that is a wild card or a limitless. How do Spurs and... So Spurs then have a decent fixture, and they still have a pretty good run after that. I think, yeah, so Spurs have the second best fixtures in the tournament anyway. But you're obviously not going to want them for PSG away. And then Inter Milan are playing against Atletico Madrid away, but Inter have a very tough run after the first four. So if you are going to triple up on Inter and Spurs, you probably would look to use your wild card here, because you aren't going to want to touch Inter Milan after Matchday 5, and it is going to be an issue for anyone that is wildcarding in Matchday 2 if you are going to load up on Inter Milan players, because they're pretty much all going to have to come out in Matchday 5, because that's a honking run. Solanke's injury could keep him out for a while, and Spurs got Muani in. I forgot about Muani. Yeah, he could be a pretty nice one. Richarlison, Solanke as well. Fixture swing wise, wildcard 2, limitless 5 looks good, but limitless 5 looks weak. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like if you're gonna wildcard, and sorry, I might have just caused a loud noise. If you're gonna wildcard Matchday 2, that looks very strong. However, yeah, I do think the limitless and 5 doesn't look too great. You're going to want Liverpool, you're going to want City, you're going to want Napoli. I mean, it's not actually that bad. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Man City, Napoli, Juventus. There's still a lot of expensive players you can get in there. And obviously you can, like, you know, City and Liverpool are going to have very expensive players, you know, top of the game expensive, the same with Real Madrid. Napoli a little bit cheaper, Juventus probably a little bit cheaper as well, but it's still a pretty solid limitless time. But let's have a look as well at 6, 7 and 8, because that is going to decide big time if wildcard 2 is a good strategy or not. Barca with Frankfurt, and again Barca looking good for 3, 4 and 6, so that kind of helps for the wild card, the limitless 5. Bayern with Sporting. Bode Glimt for Dortmund. Atalanta away for Chelsea. I'm not going to add that one in. Paphos for Juventus. That can get added in. And again, Juventus, nice in 2, 3, 4, and nice in 2, 4, 5, and 6. So it's really only 3 that you'd want to avoid for Juventus. Marseille. Can't Copilot do this automatically for you? I really need to work out how to properly use Excel, because if this works, if that is a thing, that would be fantastic, but I'm going to be honest, I do not know. I'm not clued up enough on that. I have to look into it though, because that would save me so much time. Spurs. And then we got Copenhagen for Villarreal. Okay. So matchday 6 looks kind of strong, but not really at the. I don't know. Is it really looking good for the players that we would have? For example, Bayern, you would have in 2 and 3, but you wouldn't have in 4 and 5, but you would have them again in 6. I guess that is kind of why. Is that kind of why the Limitless 5 looks so good? Arsenal's there, but not in 5. Barcelona's there, but not in 5, but they are there in 4. Bayern misses out in 4, but you would have Bayern for 2, 3, a difficult fixture in 4, skip them for 5, and then you'd have them again in 6, which is nice. Dortmund's there in 5 and 6, Juventus is there in 5 and 6, Napoli's there in 5 and 6. PSG, we know, just have difficult fixtures all round. Spurs are there for 1, 2, 3 and 4. They're not there for 5 and they're in 6 again. Yeah, so I really like the Limitless 5. It does look very, very solid. And we can see if Matchday 5's preferred team crosses budget. Yeah, I'll have a look at that as well, yeah. Control page up to go to previous sheet, control page down to go to next sheet. I'll be honest, Wasiv, thank you. I will come back to that. I just feel like I'll end up messing something up the now. But I will keep an eye on that and make sure. Because honestly, it would save me so much time. So who's getting you on? Atletico Madrid? See, Atletico Madrid's another one that I don't really feel like a lot of the fixtures are looking good, and I don't really feel like they're ever a team that people do pick. You know, I had Griezmann and Alvarez towards the end. That was Barca that had Prague on it. And they done great, but it's a weird one with those two. Leverkusen, Bayern. And I've not really seen them in this either. So I don't know if their fixtures will look too great. Seven's looking really strong. Chelsea and Bruges. Frankfurt with Karabag. Chelsea with Paphos at home's a big one. Juventus with Benfica. There's a lot of green fixtures going on in Matchday 7. Marseille away for Liverpool. Galatasaray at home for City. I think that could potentially be a strategy for some people. And again, more good fixtures. Maybe if you want to hold your chips, a wild card in Matchday 5 and then the Limitless in Matchday 7 could be another move that we'll look at. Real Madrid have Monaco. I'm going to have to add that one in. I can just tidy this up a little bit. So I'll just copy that one in. So Matchday 7 looks very, very strong. Sheikh Hello, once I fire up the app later on tonight, I'll get a better understanding of who's who. I know I don't really know a lot of the players. The only thing I've seen on Twitter so far, Atletico is the same fixture match day. Hold on. Why is that there? Atletico. Yeah, apparently it does. Right, hold on. Let me try and fix this. Fixtures. Who are they supposed to have? What was it? Match day. Something and something. Match day 4 they have Union. Match day 5 they have Galatasaray away. Now for a lot of teams, I think that's still green anyway. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We can sort that. Don't know how that's got in there either. Cal away. It's a light green fixture. That's not the colour of green. This one. Nope. What colour of green has been used here? Don't know. I can do. Galatasaray away. Thank you for pointing that out, Alphabet. That's really annoying me that it's a different colour though. Don't know, it's just gonna have to do. Do you really consider Atalanta as an option? Their coach is the same as Southampton's from last year. Is it? Who is Southampton's? The manager appointments in Italy have been shocking. Really? Oh, I have no idea. I'm clearly not kept up with my football news. Ivan Juric. Interesting. Well, so I guess that'll be why Atalanta. So again, PSG in match day 1 up against Atalanta at home makes the wild card in 2 look a bit better. Again. Right, let's finish this off. Match day 8. We'll have a look, and then we will fully get into it. Atalanta and Arsenal. Why can I not find the capital? There we go. Atalanta and Arsenal. We have got Barca, Leverkusen, and Bayern. Juventus with Monaco. Liverpool and City with fantastic fixtures in match day 8. See, this is why, and now I'm really leaning towards saving the limitless again, because you're gonna have rotation, especially for those two teams. And to be able to still triple up on who they have, you know, like even if like Gakpo doesn't start by that point, you know, we're talking January, there's a high chance that, you know, regular bench players come in. And can still get hat tricks in that game, kind of thing. So there we are. So that's where we're at. And if you want to base it on green fixtures, the best time to use the wildcard, the limitless, is going to be in match day 7. Chelsea, Paphos at home, Bayern, Union SG at home, Real Madrid, Monaco at home, PSV at home for Newcastle, Galatasaray at home for City. There's a lot of good fixtures there in match day 7. Which is interesting. However, that could be something that really does mess up a team structure. Do you plan much ahead? With match days in UCL fantasy like FPL? We get more transfers, so might be less important. I feel like match days in UCL fantasy, especially for the league stage, is the best possible time to plan. You know, I definitely don't think you can do match day by match day, because I feel like it's a game. You know, in this kind of format, it's a game that you really can aim to have the best possible lineup for each match day. So for me, like right now, when I make my team, I will literally plan from match day 1 to 8, because it's easy enough to do. You know the fixtures and you know roughly how the teams are gonna perform because the season has started. So yeah, at least the first 5 or 6 match days, you definitely do want to be planning, because yes, if you do get more transfers, but two transfers per match day feels like nothing when you've got a squad of 15 where all 15 players matter. You know, you can't just have, you know, a light bench. You really have to have like a decent bench of good playing players. I also just realised you can't see the second part of that, so I'm gonna make me a bit smaller. Or move me to, we'll go for that then now. And I've just moved that. There we go. So yeah, this is where we're at. Any thoughts on the Isak transfer? I mean, obviously, he's kind of threw away everything that he had worked for at Newcastle. All the fans hate him. But we saw it with the Gahey transfer. That's what works, you know. So it's whatever. And at the same time, you know, if he had all these promises and stuff given, yes, definitely went about the right way. But you know, I'm not going to say too much. I think he'll be a brilliant sign. I think he is a brilliant signing for Liverpool. I think he'll do fantastic for Liverpool. So let's get back to some chip strategies. What I want to look at. So I think from what I'm seeing is that we're looking at potential wildcard in 2. We're looking at potential wildcard in 5. I think that's looking like some of your best options. Wildcard 5 could also be a limitless week, and I think 7 could be a limitless week, and then also 8 could be a limitless week. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Okay, I think 3 and 4 are very similar, and especially more so very similar to 2. So let's have a look and see what teams we could go for on a potential wildcard. See who pops up in 2, 3 and 4. So we've got Arsenal twice. We'll highlight the twice teams in orange. Atletico are there once. Leverkusen are there once. Bayern are there twice. Barca twice. Chelsea are there 3 times. Inter are there 3 times. Juventus twice. Liverpool twice. City once. Napoli 3 times. Newcastle 3 times. Spurs 3 times. And that's us. So a wildcard 2 limitless 5 strategy. You're wanting to cover these teams. And then do they pop up again? They do. There. They do there. They do there. Dortmund do not. Juventus do. Napoli, Spurs. So that's looking like a very promising strategy. You know, you could have Barcelona again, you could have Bayern again, Chelsea again, Juventus again, Liverpool again, Napoli, Newcastle. So these are kind of the teams in blue, mainly on this side, are going to be teams that you want to be getting on a wild card in matchday 2. Again, Arsenal, Barcelona, Leverkusen pop up again, Bayern, Juventus, Liverpool, Newcastle, Spurs. So matchday 2 is looking like a very, very strong wild card team. It is obviously matchday 8 on its own is always going to be a struggle to try and predict who's going to start. You know, Arsenal have Kairat. If chances are, you know, with Arsenal's fixtures, you know, they are looking pretty decent. They will be qualified potentially in the top 8 already by matchday 8. So you are obviously gonna, like, if you are going for a wildcard 2 limitless 5, you are limiting yourself and playing the risk of rotation in matchday 8. But matchday 8 looks brilliant for a limitless on its own. It's just whether you can get through 1 to 7 with just a wild card, because you can get triple Arsenal against Kairat, triple Barca at home against Copenhagen, triple Liverpool at home against Karabag, triple City against Bodo Glimt. It's looking. I've also got Newcastle against Newcastle. Where's that? Newcastle. Oh, this is PSG against. Sorry, this isn't Newcastle. PSG. Take that out. There we go. Predicting starts and minutes with Gakpo, Isak, Ekitike will be a nightmare probably. Salah, most nailed but too expensive. Wirtz probably second most nails, but will face the occasional rest or early sub. Yeah, I do get that. I think it's going to be tough for Liverpool for the whole season, whether that's FPL or even UCL fantasy. Only 2 of the highlighted teams appear in matchday 5, almost as if matchday 5 was made to use a limitless. Yeah, so what have you got? You've got Liverpool and Juventus. Literally. So yeah, matchday 5 looks great for a potential limitless. So we will look into that. So if we were wild card in here, let me just label that as a wild card. You would want to get Arsenal. I mean, you can kind of see that actually. I'll leave that there now. We can kind of all see where that is. Actually no, because I'll need to. Right, let me highlight it as wild card. Arsenal. You want Bayern. You want Chelsea. You want Inter. And this obviously isn't ruling out other teams that appear. You know, like City appear in 2, City then appear in not 5, we'll ignore 5, City then appear in 7 and 8. So obviously you can use transfers at that point in 7 and 8 to get City players in. Galatasaray at home, Bodo Glimt. But just in terms of like long-term planning, these are going to be your best teams to go for. Napoli, Newcastle, and Tottenham. So that's what we've got for a wild card in matchday 2, and then you would limitless in 3. So that's going to be your other strategy. Limitless in 5, sorry. And you would go for Juventus and Liverpool. But you would also want Napoli, you want Real, you will want Man City, we're looking at just expensive fixtures for these, because obviously you will probably stick in a cheap gem from Copenhagen somewhere. But in terms of expensive teams, that's probably what you're looking at. So that's one strategy in the bag. The next strategy I want to look at is matchday 1 to 4, just using transfers, wildcarding in 5, and then either a limitless in 7 or 8. Because then if you did that, obviously with the wildcard 2 and in limitless 5, you're basically preparing yourself for a very, very solid 5 first game weeks. And then I feel as though you could struggle in 6 to 8, which is exactly what I struggled with last year. I had an early limitless and an early wildcard, and I struggled in 6 to 8. I think that was I think I had something like I can't remember if it was a limitless in 2 and or a limitless in 3 and a wildcard in 5. But I did struggle in 6, 7 and 8, especially against people that held their chips for 7 and 8. But what you're going to do with a wildcard 2 limitless 5 strategy is have a very, very solid first 5 game weeks. But you could struggle in 6 to 8. But if you are going to go for a wildcard 5 and a limitless in 7 and 8, you're going to have a very, very good end. So if you're able to have, if you're able to keep up with the pack in 1 to 4, you could be on for a very nice group stage if you do the wildcard 5 strategy. Napoli 2 and matchday 5. Did I mention that? Dortmund probably decently expensive for matchday 5. Yeah, I'll add in Dortmund. Rather have a strong start and avoid late note rotation. Yeah, so I feel like the only way you can avoid late rotation is if you do use a chip in, matchday 8. I don't know if I'm in middle. Let me make sure I'm in middle. But yeah, I think it's more difficult because I feel like it's easier to have a good start. It's easier to have a good start than it is to have a good finish, because you can kind of predict at the start that no one really knows what's going on in the first 4 game weeks. And you can use your wild card and the rest of your chips when you know who the good players are, when you know who the good teams are, etc. If that makes sense. We meant highlighting Napoli in matchday 5 column. Oh yeah, sorry. No, yes. Apologies. There we go. I meant rather letting rotation hit in matchday 8 than predicting it. Okay, yeah, fair enough. The thing with matchday 8 though is rather than trying to predict rotation, you obviously can see every single lineup in matchday 8, so you know who's going to be rotated. So you can limitless. I think the problem with using the limitless as well in matchday 8 though is because you don't get the bench. You're kind of just neglecting 4 players. And that's why I didn't do that strategy last year, which a lot of people were on. But I feel like it's a bit of a waste. If we're chipping in 2, I think we want a Slavia Prague player on 1. Do I have? I'll happily add in some extra game week 1 fixtures, because it kind of shows us who we can have. Sporting with Kairat, did I add them in? I did. PSV with USG. That'll do. I don't want to add too many non-so-good teams. So if we're going to wildcard, let me have a look at wildcard 5 strategy, because that's something that I'm a little bit interested in, based on how well it went for people last year. the late chips. At least this year we do have like there's clearly two very good strategies. I feel like last year there was one very clear strategy that a lot of people did go for. This year I feel like you do have the choice. You know, you can use your chips early or you can use your chips late, and both look pretty solid. So match day 1 to 4 we're going to separate from match day 5 to 8 on this strategy. So teams that appear all 4 times are Inter and Spurs. I think that's it. Real Madrid, they don't pair out 3. Sporting, they don't. Yeah. So, and then teams that appear 3 times, which you are still going to want. Arsenal, Atalanta don't, Barcelona do. Oh. Chelsea do. Leverkusen don't. Benfica don't. PSG don't. Real Madrid don't. Sporting. Do Sporting? I feel like Sporting do. No, they don't. Right, so we'll leave it at that. So that's the teams. You want to be looking at 4 teams: Arsenal, Barca, Inter, and Spurs. If you want to look at later chips. I finished top 50 last year, Limitless 2, Wildcard 4, but I don't think it works this year. No, I don't think the Limitless 2 is going to be a good strategy, because everyone that you want in a Limitless 2 you're going to want pretty much after that as well. Looking forward to your first draft. I don't know when it will come out. I think like I'll make a quick draft I think on this. Potentially. I might even just leave that. We are an hour and a half into the stream, so we might potentially look at a draft another day and have a separate video for it. Napoli and Newcastle 3 times the first 4. Did I get as far as that? I did not. Napoli, Newcastle. Thank you. Is that it? Yeah. You just wouldn't want Napoli and Newcastle in game week 1. Who do they play against? See, Napoli have Man City and Newcastle have Barcelona. You could potentially get a Newcastle player in there because they are playing at home, but again, that's probably something you'd use your 2 transfers on. Napoli's fixture against Sporting, you wouldn't need to heavily go on Napoli. I guess you could even argue, you know, Sporting, PSV and Frankfurt, you would maybe only need 1 Napoli player in there. Newcastle, however, they play Union SG, Benfica at home and Bilbao at home. You maybe would want 1 or 2. So I think maybe you would start with a Newcastle player on that strategy and then bring in another one in match day 2 with a Napoli player is potentially what you'd be looking at. But at the same time on that strategy, you aren't getting City for Monaco, Liverpool for Galatasaray. You don't have any Real Madrid players against Kairat. Saying that, you probably would have Real Madrid players against Kairat. They're playing Marseille in game week 1. But they don't have good fixtures in match day 3 and 4. So if we were to wildcard here, the teams we'd want to look at. Right, now hold on actually. So what we'll do is we'll start. This will be our blue side. Let me make a quick Limitless. So wildcard 2, Limitless 5, and then wildcard 5, Limitless 7, 8. So that's going to be our orange one, and this is going to be our blue one. So you're going to want Arsenal. You're going to want Barca. Sorry if this does make sense to me. I'm hoping this makes sense to use as well. Tottenham, Napoli, Newcastle. And again, Napoli and Newcastle will put like, oh dear. What have I done? Okay, that'll do. Oh, that'll do. Yeah, we'll put like this beside it because you probably wouldn't want to start with those two, but they are there anyway. So they'll be in blue. Starting, or we'll do first draft. And then you would wild card. What I'll do is I'll move these down here. This is the worst part. See when stuff unmerges, you have to go through every single thing and merge it again. Worst part of the day. There we go. So we'll move into the wild card, and then we'll decolor these guys. So who appears 4 times? Does anyone appear 4 times in this? That's kind of what we want to know. Dortmund don't. Galatasaray, they don't. Juventus appear 4 times. Juventus, Liverpool do not. Man City do not. Napoli, they don't. Real Madrid do not. And Sporting do not. So that's going to be a very. I mean, it's not. We'll look at the 3s first before we decide. Benfica don't. Dortmund appear twice. Liverpool, I'm pretty sure Liverpool's 3 times. City 3 times. Monaco, Napoli, Real Madrid, only twice for Real Madrid. Ajax, Arsenal, Barcelona 3 times. I feel like it's going to be hard trying to wild cards in 5 because a lot. I feel like 5 just does look like a limitless week. Like the more I'm kind of highlighting these teams, the more I'm thinking that the first strategy just looks 10 times better. So that's what you want there. On a wild card, you'd be picking Juventus. You'd be picking Liverpool. You'd be picking City, Napoli, Barca, Bayern. Barca, Bayern, and is that it? I think it is. Oh. And then you would limitless later. Let's see. Need to catch up with the chat. Sporting are fine with Marseille at home in 3. Yep. I think we did say that. It was just the fact that I think we ran out of space. I can't remember what it was. You can't avoid Real Madrid for the first two. And I see Barca, first game, one of the hardest games for Barca, so unmark the first Barca game week. Yeah, fair. I'm quite surprised that Newcastle is down as a green fixture on here. Favourite cheap goalkeeper? I don't know just yet, Albie. Hopefully we will get one soon, but I haven't even looked at the players. We'll see if you're going to build a draft in today's stream. I will have a look. I don't know if I'll have a full draft thing. I'll maybe just quickly build something. Tom, how are we? Good to have you in, mate. I don't think avoiding players from big teams just because they have a tough fixture against another one is smart. Yeah, I think we did see that, to be fair, last year. You know, a lot of like 4 each and stuff. You know, I think, but like I know myself specifically, obviously targeting the Barcelona and Dortmund games, and then taking them all out on a limitless because they were playing against each other, and I think that game ended up 3 each. You know, Gudase, who I had for 3 game weeks, you know, had I think he scored a hat trick in that game. So yeah, that makes that's fair. I do get that, which is again I think is even more reason, you know, like Bayern Munich in matchday 2 have a nice fixture, and in game matchday 3, if you're a wild card and if you're limitless in here, they've got a nice fixture in 6 and 7 and 8. So you're really only looking at matchday 4 is where they have a tough fixture. They are playing against PSG away, you know, like at the same time, Elise, Kane, they can all still do well in that fixture, so it's not enough to worry about, you know, maybe not having Bayern players, stuff like that. Yes, listen to Tom. Thank you, Tom. It's if you're enjoying the stream, make sure to drop a like on it. We've got 9 likes so far, and there's 48 people watching, and I know plenty of you are able to like the stream. So if you haven't already, please make sure and do that. It would be very, very much appreciated. And subscribe as well if you are new. I do want to do more live streams. I keep saying this in every single live stream. To be fair, I've not put a video out in a while now. And I've done a few live streams, and I do quite enjoy them. So hopefully, you know, free for some deadline streams and stuff like that throughout this season, and we can do some stuff, you know, right on the deadline, and look at some potential teams and transfers and stuff. It is just a little more difficult because it is during the week. Tuesday, Wednesdays, you know, at like 4:45 is quite hard, you know, to organise a live stream for. Where are you on doubling and tripling up on attacks versus picking talismans, man of the match players from several teams, considering the number of targetable teams on the popular strat? Obviously it depends on the fixture. You know, if a team's playing against, you know, Kairat Almaty, I would definitely want to be picking triple ups. And I think you would want to have, you know, talismans in there. But I think, you know, for the more difficult fixtures like a Bayern PSG, you are probably fine just having, you know, talisman players. Is Yamal 0.5 more than Rafinha this year? That's crazy. I don't know how Rafinha's start has got off to this season. But that's mental. I thought Rafinha would have been one of the most expensive players in the game this year. Rhubarb, hello. It's good to have you in. Right, back to this. So Juventus are in there, Liverpool are not, Man City are not, Napoli are, Barcelona are, and Bayern are. So it's really only matchday. So I don't think matchday 6 you're not going to need a wild card. You're not going to need a limitless if you're wild carding in 5. because it's really only Liverpool and City aren't there. Match day 6, they are playing against Inter away and Real Madrid away, so it is 2 very tough fixtures. But PSV and Leverkusen, you could maybe get away with no City. You know, Leverkusen at home in 5 and Real Madrid away in match day 6, and then start to bring City players in for Galatasaray and Bodo Glimt. But I don't really think just having City and Liverpool with tough fixtures is enough to use a limitless in match day 6. So we'll ignore that. Juventus are there in match day 7. Liverpool are there in match day 7. City are there in match day 7. Napoli are there in match day 7. Barca are there in match day 7, and Napoli are also there in match day 7. So there's going to be absolutely zero need for a limitless in match day 7 either if you are wildcarding 5. So we can rule that strategy right out, which basically leaves you with limitless in match day 8, which I think the fixtures aren't needed for that. It is mainly just the fact that you're going to be perfect for any rotation that does happen, which I think this year you definitely are going to see. You know, Arsenal you're probably not going to pick because they don't have a good fixture in 5. Bruges away is kind of difficult in 6, and they're not here again in 7, so you'll triple up on Arsenal in match day 8 depending on how the lineup looks. Atalanta look good for match day 7 and match day 8. You could potentially look there for transfers, but again, you know, a double up against USG is a viable move. Although we did obviously talk about this earlier, that Atalanta don't look too great manager-wise this season. John, thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here, mate. Barcelona, you're going to have anyway, but you're probably going to want more. Where else have we got? Liverpool and City, they have good fixtures, but again, the good fixtures means there's likely going to be rotation, and the rotated players are still going to be able to do very, very well in these fixtures. So the thing is, see if we had a third chip. If we had a third chip, I 100% would be saying chip in 2, chip in 5, and chip in 8. But it's quite a hard one. It's quite a hard one because I think if you do match day, if you do the match day 2 wild card limitless 5, you're going to be very good for the majority of games here, because a lot of your team that you are going to wild card in from these clubs here still are here in 6 and 7. You know, even in 8, you know, you're not going to wild card in Barca, so Barca you're going to want to get in 8. Bayern you're going to have, Juventus you're going to have, Liverpool you're going to want City players in, you're going to maybe want PSG players in, but Newcastle's quite tough, and you're going to have Spurs. So the only thing you're really going to be worried about is 1, rotation, and 2, Manchester City and Barcelona in match day 8. I think, to be honest, if looking at this, wildcard 2 and limitless 5 is looking like the best strategy. Limitless 5 and wildcard 6, that would be the same here. You'd want these teams here. You would limitless in 5, where there's no Arsenal, there's no Barca, there's no Inter, there's no Spurs, Napoli. Do you know, that's a very, very decent shout as well, to be fair. Although you would still have Napoli, you would still have Arsenal, you'd still have Barca, you wouldn't have Bayern, you wouldn't have Juventus, you would have Napoli. I mean, to be fair, you could maybe even get away with not wildcarding in 6. Depends how your team looks. And maybe wildcard in 7, but I don't know if I like that, because you'd wildcard for 7 and half your team could maybe not be starting in 8. And I feel like is a wildcard worthless in match day 8? I don't mind it though. It's maybe one that you could look into. Sorry, I realise I'm barely in the camera. It's so hard not... You know, this chair's killing me. Phone call. I apologise. So yeah, this is kind of... I like this. I think I'd be going... I think I'd be going wildcard 2. Limitless 5. And... that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't really think there needs to be much more planning. But again, I like the idea that it's a lot more open for chip strategies. There's also a lot of good fixtures. I feel like last year we maybe had like 5 or 6 teams in each table. This year we're adding in extra... we're adding in a lot of extra lines, a lot of extra columns. Columns? Rows? But yeah, I think these are going to be your main 2 strategies. Wildcard 2, Limitless 5, Wildcard 5, Limitless 8. I think I'm leaning towards the Wildcard 2 and Limitless 5 though. In which case, I guess we might as well look at a potential draft while we're here. And what I will do is move this over here. And we can we'll build a matchday 1 draft, because right now I'm looking at a wildcard and 2. And that means we can just build a matchday 1 draft. Purely a matchday 1 free hit, and we can take a look at some prices as well and see how it's getting on. So our best matchday 1 fixtures: Benfica playing against Karabag, Sporting have Kairat, but we'll look at some of the bigger players that we're going to want to have. So in terms of prices this year, let's take a look at our forwards. Kane, Mbappe, so Dembele's a forward this year. I mean, rightfully so, he was basically playing as striker. Do you know what, I'm actually going to adjust this for you. Don't know why I've got a full black screen. There we go, sorry. I just realised that's not been on your screen the whole time. There we go, that's better, I think. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, Dembele's down as a forward this year at 10 million, which is going to be a bit of a struggle to fit him in. We're going to want... I need to get this back up again. There we go. So Arsenal play Bilbao in 1. Let's have a look at Arsenal's players. I mean, Gyökeres, Saka at 9.5. I don't mind Gyökeres at 9 million. Gyökeres at 9 million is a decent shout. Eze at 7.5 could be really nice. Declan Rice is always a very solid one. Saliba's 6 million. Gabriel's a little bit cheaper this year. Get Calafiori at 4.5. That could be someone that I'm very interested in. I do want to have a look and see if there has been like a lot of other position changes though. So we've got Dembele as a striker, Dembele as a forward. Isak at 9 million as a Liverpool striker. Very interesting. I mean, I wouldn't pick him off the bat. They don't have a good fixture in matchday 1 anyway, so he could potentially be a wild-carded player in once, you know, he gets some game time. Guirassi's only 8 million again this year. Is that not cheaper than what he was last year? I swear Guirassy was only 9 million last year. Thuram was a forward. Was Thuram a forward last year? Thuram was a forward last year. Ekitike only 8 million is a pretty decent one too. Luis Diaz is a forward, is a weird one. for Bayern, of course. Gakpo forward. I feel like all the... Oh, João Pedro at 7.5 is pretty nice. I feel like all the Liverpool attackers are all listed as forwards this year. Gakpo shouldn't be a forward. Ferran Torres is a forward this year. He was a midfielder last year. We've got Rashford at 7 million as a forward. I still haven't seen Kolo Muani. Have I missed him? Is he maybe not in the game? 7.5. Obviously, it's Spurs. It's not bad. Bilbao always hardly a good fixture. I know. I mean, if we want to target purely good fixtures, it's going to be... It's not the best, to be fair. You know, a lot of the bigger teams have away fixtures this week, or in matchday 1. Real Madrid have Marseille. So again, I need to have a look really at how teams have started the season. Like, is Vinicius Junior still doing well? Because if you know, I'd be putting him straight in my team at midfield. Debatably, you know, I'd probably have them both. What have we got defence wise? Carvajal at 4.5. Does Carvajal start over Trent? I mean, based on what I've seen from, you know, people talking about Trent, he's not really had the best start to the season. Is there a chance there? Oh, we're saying that Dean Huijsen sitting there at 4.5. I don't know if he's starting as well, but he's definitely one. If he's 4.5 million, I'd probably just stick him straight in as well, and that would be the triple Real Madrid for the Marseille game. Next I want to look at Benfica because they're playing against Karabag. And you've got Pavlidis. Otamendi's always really nice to have in this game. Who else is there? Potentially, did Di Maria leave? He's not in the game anymore. I think he left after the Club World Cup, didn't he? I'll go for a... I kind of want to triple up against Karabag though. Do we chuck it? Actor Koglu's a forward. Yuck. 5.5 million's those really nice for him. If that was a midfield option. There's a lot of forward. I guess you could pick the goalkeeper. 4.5 mil goalkeeper. In matchday 1. Who else is a good fixture? PSG against Atalanta. I feel like I want the two classic defenders. You've got, where is he? Hakimi and Mendes. And then Vitinha. Nicely priced at 7. What else have we got? Spurs with Villarreal. I don't think that's the best fixture. Sporting. I want to have a look at Sporting. Who done well for Sporting last year? DeBast at 4.5. And then that's my defence gone already though, to be fair. Pedro Goncalves, a midfielder again. Interesting. Stick one Sporting player in there now. I also need to look at captaincies. So Real Madrid play on the 16th, day 1. Day 2 is going to be Slavia Prague, PSG. So Hakimi on day 2 is looking like a nice captaincy. And then day 3, Barcelona Newcastle's day 3. Who plays Kairat? Sporting play Kairat in day 3. So potentially, I don't actually know who the Sporting striker is, but that's a very decent option. We'll add some Spurs players in there. Cheapest Spurs player is 7 million, which is kind of mental. I think I prefer Brennan Johnson maybe over Kudus at 0.5 cheaper. Polina could be brilliant for ball recoveries at 5.5. I can maybe even double up on that. I bet it's a free hit week into it, and I don't think... Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. Or we go for Vicario. Is Vicario 4.5? No, he's 5. Okay, potentially not then. Luis Suarez is up front for Sporting. How much is he? Although I already do have a cheap... I've got a lot of cheap players in here actually. Inter. How much is Suarez? 5 million. Crazy. What did I want? Inter. Inter are playing Ajax away. I want Dumfries. Where is Dumfries? 6 million. Maybe I take Mendes out, put Dumfries in and stick Dembele up top. Go for something like that. 13 million still in the bank. Bogdan, chip strategy for this team would be a wildcard 2 matchday. Wildcard 2 limitless 5. That's where we're looking. Avoid Johnson, he wouldn't be a starter. Do we not think? Who did they sign? I mean, it would either be Johnson or Kudus. What I'll do, right, is I'll throw Kudus in there right now because he's more expensive, and that way you can easily downgrade. Don't know if I like Polina in there for matchday 1 either. Then maybe from that we just chuck in good players. You know, who like Saka? Is Saka going to be back? I don't think he is he? I want more Arsenal. I want Arsenal against maybe Eze. Although we've not seen him starting yet to think he would do well on matchday 1. I guess the only option really is like a Declan Rice, which isn't unreal. Xavi Simons, I forgot about Xavi Simons. Also a pretty decent pick. Who else is there I can pick for matchday 1? Napoli, who did Napoli play? Oh, Napoli have a hard fixture in matchday 1 actually. I don't think I would go there. Maybe like Elise. How much is Elise? 8? 8 for Elise. Come on. Oh, I can't afford them. Damn. Pedri, Martinelli, Çalhanoğlu, maybe even Rodri. Well, and I want Rodri and Rice, not really. Al Kabi gets a matchday 1 hat trick. Who is Al Kabi? Or El Kabi? Let me see for you, Harry. Olympiacos striker, yeah, against Paphos, fair. There's not a lot of great picks, is there? Under 7 million in midfield. Enzo, 6.5. I don't think there's really much going. Maybe I go back to Polina. If anyone in here has played Sky Fantasy Football, you'll know exactly why Polina will be a great option. And I don't really think, Villarreal at home for Spurs isn't amazing, I don't think. To the point where I think Polina could easily pick up a lot of ball recoveries. So we go Polina, that allows me to get in Olise. And now I get 5 million for a goalkeeper. I don't like 5 million goalkeepers. But that would allow... I maybe just keep 0.5 in the bank for now for a first draft. Although the 4.5 million options don't look great at all. Couple 4 million goalies. A lot that never get any points. Although you can look at a lot of people seem to be going for Merit for Napoli. However, I wouldn't pick him for Matchday 1 because they're playing against Man City. That seems to be it. Reinders, he has a potential option. Gnabry 6.5. Is Gnabry 6.5? I don't think Gnabry starts though for Bayern, does he? Gnabry 6.5, yeah. I remember Al Kabi getting 5 against Villa when they beat them 6-2 in the Conference League semis. Interesting. Ishmael remembers Sky. Chiquinho is a talisman for Olympiacos. Good pick for Matchday 1. Is he a midfielder? He is a midfielder and he's 5.5. Right, I'll stick him in for you. Soil creep. No PSV. Who do PSV have? USG. I'll maybe go for the PSV goalkeeper. Kovar. How's that? That gives me 3 good captains, I'm sure. Mbappe, Dembele. Oh, I don't have a good. I don't have a good match day 3 captain. Who plays in day 3? Is there like 2 fixtures in day 3? No, there's a full list of fixtures. Barca, Newcastle, I don't really want. It's gonna have to be a sporting player. It's gonna have to be a sporting player for day 3. But I want the Bast as a I mean, he's not a bad captaincy, is he? How are you missing Luis Suarez, the 5 million sporting striker, and on pens? But is he better than the other guys that I've got? Pavlidis is playing against Karabag. Dembele is Dembele. The only other option is maybe taking Mbappe out, but if I take Mbappe out for a 5 mil pick, I'm going to have like 6 mil in the bank, and I don't really know if I've got many options to change. That I want to, at least. Pavlidis was benched last game. Okay, in that case, we'll do this for our first draft then. Stick Luis Suarez up top. I don't know how much one benching means, of course, but that way I've still got, look at the front 3. The front 3 is your 3 captaincies. Still at 2.5 mil in the bank, which would allow quite a lot. But that could be me for right now. I think obviously this is purely based just on match day 1. But that would be how we're looking. Wait, do they play on the same day, the goalies? Ah, why? I'd rather have Tribben. Sporting goalkeeper. I mean, I don't think Kairat are going to be good at all this year. So yes, let's triple up on Sporting. There we go. How's that? Are we happy with that? Nabry over Elise so far this season? Wow. Is Pavlidis even nailed? He didn't start and has had a poor start to the season. I mean, Pavlidis is like one of Benfica's best players. You know, he was scoring hat-tricks against Barcelona in the Champions League last season. I don't think he's going to be taken out just like that. Tripled up on Sporting because I'm using Limitless in Matchday 2. I think I'll triple up on Sporting too. It's just, I think I need to do a little bit more research into who the best players from Sporting will be. But Kairat, I feel like Kairat could get absolutely demolished off of, you know, every single team. I think Matchday 2 against Real Madrid is going to be absolutely insane. Really like Bayern's fixtures 2 or 3. I'd be worried with no Kane. Sam, I'm going to be using the wild card. At least with this team, that would be using the wild card in Matchday 2. So that's going to be fine. I will bring in Kane and stuff like that afterwards. Is the PSG goalkeeper 4.5 mil? That can't be right. Wow, okay. Well, that's huge. Well, I mean, you say that's huge. It is huge, but PSG has not good fixtures. The fixtures are horrendous. But that is still pretty massive to have a PSG goalkeeper at 4.5 million. Interesting. I think I might stick with that team. I do quite like that. Tribben will not start. Well, that's not good. That is not good at all. What have I got? I've got 6.5 million to be fair. Stick Sommer in there. Stick Raya in there. I don't know. Just trying to do something with the cash. That's still leaving me with $1 million in the bank. I feel like that's a pretty decent looking first draft. I do quite enjoy that. Guys, make sure to like the stream as well. I think we're 2 hours in now. I think we're over 2 hours in, which I think is basically going to be coming to the end because I don't know if there's much else that we can do. The rest is going to be done off stream in terms of looking for cheap players and stuff like that. Because, yeah, that's going to take a lot of work looking through all the different teams. But I think there's a lot of weaker teams in the tournament this year. Karabag, Paphos, Kairat. I think all are going to be pretty, like, you know, we saw 7-0s last year. I think we could be seeing double that with a lot of these teams. So I think that is going to be big. And I think it could, I don't know if people will catch on to that as quick. But I think, you know, triple Sporting's going to be huge in Matchday 1. Potentially even 2 Olympiacos players, especially if you're wildcarding in Matchday 2. But yeah, I don't think a lot of the teams that have made it into the tournament are really looking great at all this year. Okay, so Ricky's saying that Tribben won't. Well, he still will be the number 1, so that's good to know. Garcia, 4.5 million from Barca. looking in the right. Is it the goalkeeper? Joan Garcia. 12% owned. Okay. It's probably another one for Matchday 2. But that's good. It's crazy to think that you could be looking at 4.5 million goalkeepers from Barcelona and PSG for a combined 9 million. Perisic a Matchday 1 option. On pens, good fixture, getting the minutes. He's PSV now, isn't he? If you need the money, get Araujo from Benfica, 4 million for Matchday 1. So there looks like there's going to be a lot of cheap gems, so I will definitely look into a cheap players video over the next week. Because it looks, from what I'm seeing, there's a ton of, potential players. And I will try as well get, I'll try combine down the information that we've looked at today and get a chip strategy video out as well. Obviously, a lot of people weren't here for the stream, so yeah, I'll get something done with chip strategies, and we could potentially look at mainly the two that we looked at. Wildcard 2, Limitless 5, or Wildcard 5, Limitless 8. But we could potentially look at some others after have another look around. In my own time. Streets won't forget Red Star beating Stuttgart 5-1 last season. I think, did I own Stuttgart players for that? I think I might have owned maybe 2 or 3 Stuttgart players for that. That wasn't great. Who was it I had? I had Mittelstadt. I might have Milo as well. Can you show us the Matchday 1 teams to target? I can. Just give me a wee sec. There we go. So that's a bit. If you're just joining the stream, I apologise. We are pretty much finished. But yeah, this is what we've got up to today. So yeah, Wildcard 2, Limitless 5 is looking really nice. If you want to take a screenshot, feel free to take a screenshot. Hopefully everything kind of makes sense. What I will do actually is don't take a screenshot just yet. Let me get rid of the random things we've been doing. There we go. That's for your screenshot. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, follow Sam for UCL tips, guys. Yeah, so this is what we've done. I will try and make this into some nice graphics that I can then put in a video over the next 2 weeks, before the deadline, of course, and then hopefully we can have a Matchday 1 deadline stream. I'll see how things land, but I think that's pretty much going to be it. W screenshot, it says alphabet. How do we get on with the poll actually? So we've got 53% of people saying they've made a team and 47% of people haven't yet made a draft. I think that's probably about right. Matchday 4 and 5 last season, I get 53 points just from Malik Tillman. 19 against Girona, 34 against Shakhtar. Crazy. Huge gap in between 6 and 7 this year, a month and a half. I think that was it not the same last year as well? Yeah, could potentially even look at, I think that was one that did just come up. Was the Limitless, no, the Wildcard? No, Limitless 5 and Wildcard 7. If maybe you wanna I don't even know what I'm saying. It's been too long. Where am I going with this? Limitless 5 wildcards. Limitless 5 wildcard 7 if you want to best prepare for the big gap in between 6 and 7. There we go. That's what I'm supposed to be going for. But yeah, so I'm going to end it because it has been 2 hours and 15 minutes now, and it's been a long one, and my back is killing me because my chair is not supporting me anymore, and I feel like it's about to snap. So I'm going to end it there. Hopefully I've got a new chair for the next video, actually. That would be nice. I need to order one. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. I think we've had a nice little audience going today. Chat's been fantastic. Thank you to everyone who got involved. We've basically had something to talk about the entire time, which is great. But we've looked at about 40 plus viewers for the majority of the stream. Hopefully enough of it was easy to understand. Hopefully you've got enough info that you were looking for, and it's nice to do this to kind of get like an introduction to the new season, looking at the fixtures and stuff like that. So now really we know what fixtures are good, we know which teams to target for which match days. It is really just deciding who the best players are going to be for our teams, in which case there's going to be plenty of videos coming out over the next little bit. Alphabet, thank you for coming, I do appreciate that. And again, before you do go, make sure to leave a like on the stream. That would be very, very much appreciated. And yeah, so if you haven't taken a screenshot already, here is the fixtures. Here's the planner. The fixture swings are on here, but you can find this right here over on FPL Manual, his Twitter account. Absolutely brilliant. Another fantastic account to follow for UCL fantasy stuff. This is his fixture ticker. It's just been changed a little bit by myself, but he is definitely one to follow if you do want more Champions League fantasy content. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out. I'm going to leave it there, and I hopefully will see you for another live stream very, very soon. So thank you all, and I'll see you in a little bit.